A Frico is not a Rico. Those are the shirts that are going around for the trial. Look, I didn't read the entire article. I'll let y'all read it. I'm not saying he didn't get charged, but from what I'm reading so far, he beat the worst allegations that could have put him behind bars. I would say practically for the rest of his life. And I hate talking about celebrities, and this is one of those things I initially told myself I was done with this. And when the verdict comes in, let me get some water because my throat's dry. All right, y'all. I said when the verdict came in, I really don't have an opinion about this. I didn't put any pictures of Diddy up because most of y'all know who he is. You can read between the lines of all the oil images you see right now. I know some of y'all will think I'm low-key petty, but hey, do what I do. You know what I mean? Here's the thing. It's not my business to say if he did all these things or didn't, but let's be honest, even in public, Diddy didn't hide some of his insidious side. He is by no means innocent, right? People usually associated with him and crossed him did pay a price. Some people genuinely got hurt because of this dude. The article's gonna pop up. Look, don't shoot the messenger. Y'all know this is all over the news. So I found this in the Daily Mail. So when the article pop up, don't be surprised. This is what I have a theory of this, and this is a quick video about the verdict. If anybody wants to know before I keep going, what do I think? I'm indifferent, and it'll go into the reason. I'll go into the reason why, which is the theme of this video, of the theory of why I think he got off on most of that stuff. The court of public opinion reason for some people. Because it was no secret of who he really was. There's such thing as etiquette, right? I'm not here to tell people that you have to believe the allegations. I'm not telling people you can't be a fan of this man. But if you go look at the pictures associated with this article, people of all races, genders, and everything practically showed up out there today. Wearing shirts or trying to peddle shirts that say a Frico is not a Rico. In the process, the shirts themselves is not what concerned me. By now, y'all see the article. To celebrate, y'all had to go out here and douse oil on each other. They had baby oil, was showing it everything. Their celebration was throwing oil on each other. I get that you think he should have got off. I get that you're happy about the verdict. But you have to practice a certain amount of etiquette. Some people who probably went back in those rooms likely did not know what they were getting into until it's too late. And that bottle of oil probably centers on something triggering for them. Conversely, I personally believe that some people enjoyed those freak offs, and that's going to be controversial. And that's going to hurt some feelings. But I believe some people loved the more freaky side of that and were probably embarrassed that the news came out. And were not happy that people know about that side of their sex life. Because everybody knows that these things happen behind the scene. These freaky parties, orgies and stuff. You may do that in private. That don't mean you want people to know you do it. Here's the thing before I get into why I made this. You can be a fan of the man. You still gotta have etiquette though. Y'all out here throwing baby oil on each other. Simulating this, like, come on now. It's not your fandemonium. Y'all took it too far. Let's just be honest. Just a touch. Now, to what I wanted to say. This is why I think that dude got off. Court of public opinion, not the court. Without a doubt, he had good lawyers. Without a doubt, they could poke some reasonable holes. I didn't keep up with this, but some people, they cast some reasonable doubt. And if you've been watching the trial, you know what I'm talking about. I haven't. I just saw this and saw the baby oil, and it brought a revelation to me that's not a revelation. The reason I think that people are celebrating is because as a whole, now, let me preface this by saying, if you were really a victim of him, I don't know you like that. I empathize with you. I empathize with Cassie because I believe she's telling the truth. We can get into that, whether you think it was a lie or not, or a setup. That video is the antithesis when we saw in that hotel of what we've known about him for years. My sympathies go out to you. All that went through it. Here's one problem. The thing about it is in the court of public opinion, some people can rationalize, and unfortunately, this is rightfully so, that because holes were poked in that allegation, those allegations, they have no reason to believe that he's being hated on because he's wealthy, because he's tough, and because he's renowned. In other words, he was an easy target because he already had a presence all over the world. What I'm alluding to is this. Is there a perfect time to report when something has happened to you? And is there a time when once you get out of the situation, or the day after, or whatever, is there a time frame on when we should report it? That's what I made this video for. And in the court of public opinion, the answer is yes, because people rationalize if someone is a predator, if somebody misused their money, their influence, their connections, and their power, you need to expose them no matter the cost. So then the question then becomes, if this happened to you, why did you wait 10 plus years to say something? Oh, he was well known. Nobody was going to believe me. Some people, and again, unfortunately, can rationalize that those are excuses, because then on their side of things, they can tell themselves, well, while you kept quiet, other people were being victimized. And there's some legitimacy to that. That doesn't mean they're taken away from the fact that you were victimized. But in their mind, you reasonably knew this could happen to other people, and you did little to nothing to prevent it until you realized it was a bandwagon for you to jump on and you could make money. And in the court of public opinion, who really was hurt and legitimately wants payouts outside of Cassie because we saw the evidence? And who really enjoyed it and then turned it into something else 10, 20, 30 years later? As harsh as this is how people think. The longer you wait, the more you forget details if it happened to you. The longer you wait, the more you're going to fumble your story if you know you're lying and you just want an easy payday in what's considered a bad economy right now. Don't think people don't think like this. That's the only reason adults of different races and backgrounds, you can go see these photos. Just about every race of people you can name was out there representative, either wearing the shirts or out there throwing baby oil on each other. They weren't covering their faces up. Why would they do that? In my opinion, it is a representation of those people saying, we're sick and tired of people targeting people and ruining their lives years later on allegations. Is what they did offensive? Yes, it lacks decorum, it lacks etiquette. I'm not saying that about the shirt, because a freako ain't technically a RICO if it's consenting adults. Sorry, that's also going to offend. No keyword consenting. But for you to willfully put your face out there and go let people throw baby oil on you, or you throw baby oil on them, the only correlation I could make is that these people are beyond super fans. They have grown tired of a society where people can make allegations and automatically ruin people's lives. To be fair, Diddy has left a long list of enemies who, because some of this he did in public, it just came to bite him in the behind. But then I can see some people saying, why would you wait 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years later to say something? All right, that's just my rant. I have no skin in this game. I ain't been keeping up with this. Tell me what y'all think. All right, have a great evening.